So welcome to Metaphysics in the Bible, week 4 of 10. Our topic today is Out Goes the Light, meaning eclipses in the Bible. We will go over what's happening in the sky, and the question for today, which we talked about, is do you think man understands the eclipse? For the most part, people said, no, I don't think man truly understands the meaning behind an eclipse. Physically, we can observe them, but what the meaning is, and including there's probably all kinds of different opinions on what the eclipses are. So we're hoping to shed a little bit of light for you today. There is a reason why we track eclipses, and that is to make a calendar to forecast when larger worldwide events take place. And I thought this was a beautiful eclipse that somebody took, and kind of looks like an eye, doesn't it? It looks like the iris of an eye. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. So thank you everybody for joining us today. So what's happening in the sky? So before we talk about what's coming up shortly, do eclipses show up on calendars? Well, of course they do. They show the moon phases, right? So you know eclipses are part of moon phases. So when the moon goes out, it goes out all the time, every month. But then there are special ones where the moon turns color, or it actually eclipses the sun. The farmer's almanac is heavy into planting seeds and harvesting, right? So they follow the moon. I'm probably sure the old ones used to follow the eclipses as well. So why would we, us, here right now, track them? Who cares, right? Why would we ever want to do that? Or here's an analogy. So we're all focused on eclipses, right? And it's a timed event. So an analogy, as a kid, did you ever look at your watch to see when your parents will be coming home? Right? Maybe you're doing something you weren't supposed to. So I got a couple little funny memes to get us on track. When your parents arrive home early to your house party, look at his face, eh? Uh-oh. That's a big party, man. I never had one that big, that's for sure. We've done our share. Oh, hey, you're home early. It's kind of cute. This one was kind of cool too. This is a little video. I'll let it play a couple times to make sure that it plays for you back then. I'm not sure you can see the little splash happening there too as everything goes down. When you hear your parents come home early. So those are pretty funny to me anyway. But a question to ask yourself, were you the one who was brave because you followed the rules? If not, like me, there's still time. On October 25th, there will be a solar eclipse. These happen all the time. Solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, they happen all the time. This is just one that's happening on October 25th. Is there something special about it? There will be people that will give out signs, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but people will get signs, and our sign is if we see that person getting that sign. It's just something for us to ponder for a much bigger sign. I mean, we've proved to some of the people that took our astrology class and people that watched on YouTube that personal eclipses happen when your chart has the moon and the sun eclipse and you pass out or your seizure. So I've done enough of the human beings, but I've also done Zeus, a friend of mine, Chris, his dog, because he knew exactly when he was born. And he was born on a lunar, his sun and the moon were aligned. So when the sun or moon comes around, depending on its alignment up and down, he passes out, he seizes. So it's a sign. He's saying, there's bigger events coming. Did you get the message? Did you get the message? Man's best friend is also trying to get us ready. He's trying to show us that we do go through these things and these things happen. So what does this mean? It's a beautiful picture from Stefan Keller. Whereupon as above and so below. It's beautiful and invigorating. Fortunately, there's still time to clean up. An eclipse is a reminder to clean up our heart as Mother Love is walking up the sidewalk to everyone's home, everyone's front door, the doorway to your consciousness. As Tammy Malash said, it's not your third eye, it's your first eye, your consciousness, right? As we start getting these messages. So we do know that eclipses do have effects on people. So just a brief mention of history of eclipses. Clay tablets found at an ancient archaeological sites shown that the Babylonians not only recorded eclipses, the earliest known Babylonian record is of the eclipse that took place on May 3rd, 1375 BC. But we're also fairly accurate in predicting them. They were the first people to use the Saros cycle. There it is, Lex. To predict eclipses. So why are we tracking eclipses and storing them in clay tablets? Someone trying to leave us a message? Someone trying to help us with calendar events? Let's look at for a brief moment at the Saros cycle and its relationship to Revelation 12:1, aka the Phoenix Rising. So there's Saros cycle. So I won't go into this in detail, but just going to show you a section of it. This is how the Phoenix Rising is connected with the moon cycles and eclipses. When you divide the Phoenix Rising period of 558 years by the well-known 30 degrees, you get exactly 18.6, the Saros cycle. So they were tracking the Saros cycle so that we would know when the Phoenix Rising happens. When many people have eclipses in such a way where they get revelations, where you start seeing the light, so to speak. So we are upon a Phoenix Rising. Are you picking up what I'm lying down? This is why they track them. And this is why there's a Saros cycle. That which eclipses the sun and the moon has an 18.6 year where it starts the cycle over again. And then 30 of those makes a Phoenix Rising. That's why they knew Mama was coming home, right? So let's look at the etymology of the word calendar, because it's just a calendar, right? We mark days on it. Well, from Latin, calendarium, account book. For calende, however that's pronounced, the calends, the first day of the Roman month, when karmic debts fell due and accounts were reckoned. This is from calare, to announce solemnly, call out, as the priest did in proclaiming the new moon that marked the calends. It's all about the Phoenix Rising. It's all about Mother walking up the sidewalk. And are we ready? Have we been partying too much while they've been gone? Mother love. Have we been lacking love? So we already proved to you that the oldest calendar listed on Wikipedia showed the cycle of Christ dying on the cross in 527 BC, right? It's a cycle of inducing us with love. Okay, I just threw that in there because I just wanted, this really is the message. It's just all about love. It really is. So let's get into now what the Bible says about eclipses. The book of Isaiah, chapter 13, it's labeled as Babylon Falls. Verse 10, heaven's stars and constellations won't show their light. The sun will be dark when it rises. The moon will no longer shine. So it's in a special eclipse they're talking about. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 32, Egypt, the crocodile. You remember Amit, right? Verse 7, when you are snuffed out, I will cover the sky and I will darken the stars. I will cover the sun with a cloud and the moon won't radiate its light. Another symbol of a special eclipse. Now, one of our sisters today, here's a synchronicity, as I'm working with this verse, she said, I apologize, but I'm not up to snuff today. See you next week. So there you go. When you are snuffed out, not up to snuff today. Just a little synchronicity I just thought I'd share with you. More in the Bible. Chapter 2, announcement of alarm and peril. They're trying to tell us something, but it's going to be beautiful. We just have to be wise to it. Verse 10, the earth quakes before them, the heaven shakes, the sun and moon are darkened, the stars have stopped shining. And this is all over the Bible. Verse 31 is important. Remember, the etymology of the word Lord is ruling goddess. Verse 31, the sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and dreadful day of the ruling goddess comes. In other words, they're saying Mama's coming home. Mama love's coming home. And we're going to be induced with love. And what happens when we're induced with love? We have to let go of that which is not loving. That's what's happening. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about the blood moon. Okay, because here they're talking about the moon to blood. We're talking about the blood moon that manifests on November 8th and its significance into the Phoenix Rising next year. So we'll talk about it in the Metaphysics Bible in a couple of weeks, but it's important. It's important, and it's got a beautiful alignment in the sky. So it's happening. The Phoenix Rises is happening. So there's a whole bunch more about the sun and the moon turning dark in the Bible. There's just a few, and it goes on and on and on. It's a very important message. It's in the Bible, and it's coming. It's coming. So in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, ruling goddess or human handiwork. This is important. Listen to the word that the ruling goddess has spoken to you. People of Israel, which means the ones that understand Isis, Ra, and Father Time, the mother, you, and time. The ruling goddess proclaims, don't follow the ways of the nations or be troubled by the signs in the sky, even though the nations are troubled by them. I'm going to say that one again. The ruling goddess proclaims, don't follow the ways of the nations or be troubled by the signs in the sky, even though the nations are troubled by them. In other words, stay in the truth. So no matter what happens next April, or from now until then, there's going to be people that are cleansing to become full of love, and the lack of love comes out of them. If you're witnessing it, just make sure you stay in the truth and stay in love. That's what this message is saying. And no matter what happens in the sky, whatever you observe, it's just part of the process. And then in verse 7, this is beautiful. Who will be brave like you, wise ones of the nations? That is your due. Among all the wise of nations in all their countries, there was no one like you. The wise will help the nations. So you have to know that you are one of the chosen ones. You are the wise. You are being vibrated with the truth. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're hearing these messages. There's a reason why you're reading these Bible verses and listening to them, because they're meant to be. Love is coming. So I'm just going to end it right there. I love you. So it's eclipses. Eclipses are huge signs that a phoenix rising is upon us, and we're going to be induced with beautiful, motherly love. But what we have to do is be loving. And we're going to get tests from now till then to ensure that we're loving, because those are vibrations that we've left behind. So if there's a not good vibration coming your way, know that it's meant for you as a test. You're wise, just be loving.